What is something people don't worry about but really should? Driving. There are so many horrible drivers out there. Be better. To quote my brother, driving is the world's biggest group project, and you can always count on that one idiot who doesn't do their work. You could be the best driver in the world, but it's the other drivers you need to worry about. I drive as if everyone is trying to kill me. I drive as if everyone is going to make the dumbest move they possibly could. Hypertension. The silent killer. I'm 29 and recently had to have a physical because I'm applying for a new job. I haven't been to the doctors in probably 4 or 5 years. When the woman was about to take my blood pressure, I warned her it was gonna be high. It always has been, even when I was playing 3 sports in high school. It runs in the family. Anyway, after taking my blood pressure 4 separate times, the woman warned me by saying if I wasn't in my late 20s she would send me to the ER. That's how bad it was. Really opened my eyes. My grandfather had 6 heart attacks and my father has had 2. Please don't ignore it and get it under control. I was your age when I was diagnosed, but I ignored it and tried to get it under control with just diet and exercise, but it wasn't enough. Note 30 years later I'm dealing with heart disease and kidney problems and have the stamina of a sloth. Take care of your health, kids. It don't come back. Drivers who regularly run red lights and ignore stop signs. Happens too often. Drivers who won't take the fucking right of way and wave you through 4-way stops, as well. They put up a new 4-way stop in my neighborhood in Garland and the concept seems to be the most baffling concept in human history for some drivers. You were already there before I even got near this area. Why are you still waiting? Credit card debt. It's disappointing that this is so far down the list. I only use like 10 to 20% of my credit max. I don't understand how people get into massive credit card debt without realizing it'll screw them for nearly a decade or more. Was like you until a bunch of unforeseen circumstances hit me within a couple months and bam. Credit limit reached. It's not crazy high and I'll be fine, but it can happen in the blink of an eye. Using it for non-essentials is a different story and is dumb, though. Posting their whereabouts. I miss the Mayhem commercials. Especially that one where Mayhem breaks into someone's home because they posted about their travel plans on social media. This happened to one of my friends. He posted on FB about being on vacation. Someone that knew where he lived saw it, broke and took stuff, and abandoned his truck in another city an hour away. I see those posts on Facebook where everyone shares something asking along the lines of, working folks, what time you clocking in tomorrow? I commented, so now I know when you and everyone that commented leaves their house in the morning. Kinda weird, huh? Damn. How'd they get back to town? Antibiotic resistance. MRSA has entered the chat. That's how my grandmother died. She got a cut on her foot, and it became a MRSA infection. They considered amputation, but by that time, she was so far gone with dementia that the doctors didn't think the trauma would be good for her, so we just let it run its course. I was like, what fucking year is it that an infection is so bad that it takes a life? Fucking mind-blowing. I thought we had moved past that little house on the prairie shit. Sorry for your loss. I'm in nursing school right now, and from what I've experienced so far, infections are much more common and dangerous than one would expect. Sepsis is no joke. Posting personal information in social media. You might think posting your name, address, birthday, school, car, your children's names, job among others in a single site in the internet is totally safe. It is not. A really good identity fraud can easily use your identity. A skilled burglar can easily monitor your schedules to time their theft perfectly. So don't give out too much information in your social media. It's so wild to me that I grew up during the don't share your personal information on the internet era, yet nowadays we seem to encourage people to do the complete opposite. The thing that kills me is that in my life, it's the same people. My parents taught me never to share personal info, especially stuff like name, age, location, and gender online. But moms over here now, like my niece Janie, kept up with us on the hike in local park at only 10 yo. Her birthday was last Friday. What a trooper. Complete with photos. Driving while tired. It can impair you as much as being drunk. Stress and fatigue can really mess you up. Totally. It can really reduce your reaction time. That can be the difference between a near miss and a full-on accident. I changed jobs specifically for this, working 8 to 10 hour physical shift then sitting down to drive an hour home. It was scary sometimes how tired I would get as soon as I sat down. Now I drive 20 minutes and a lot less physical and haven't had any issues. Oh man, I hate to admit it, I used to be bad about this. I remember driving the work truck, 6 guys in it, and waking up switching lanes. Or driving like 12 hours straight, lights were on but nobody was home. A cop could have been parked in the road, blinding strobes on, and I'd have plowed right into them. Alcoholism. Definitely. The alcohol bug bit me when I was 24. Can ate me in my 30s. I'm trying to do better, but addiction is for. Was given 7 weeks to live this year if I kept drinking, and they diagnosed me with hepatitis due to alcoholism. Luckily I'm 5 months sober now, but damn, hitting this at 31 has been eye-opening. Taking one day at a time but doing better, bless you. I'm 52 days clean from alcohol, crack, and meth and living in a woman's recovery house. I'm 42. My son is 20 and moved in with family at 14. I'm trying to piece myself together. A lot happened this year, lost my BF Bama to a heroin odd, lost my apartment and job, just now reconnecting with the son I mentioned and my sister MJ. It's hard. We can do it themselves. Instead of others' business. You are not wrong. You see it here, people worried about others' sex lives, money or location. Take that time and worry, focus on improving oneself. I've learned this being old. Lol. Happy Sunday. I was on my school bus a few days ago and one of the kids on it got pulled off to be lectured. Everyone goes to the closest wall and opens the windows. Turns out he was being lectured on staying out of other people's business. A kid gets pulled off the bus to be lectured on staying out of other people's business as the whole bus eavesdrops. Just wear your mask. FFS. Sugar and salt intake. If your diet is high in processed foods, you're loading up on these too. Sugar especially pretty much everyone is taking in way too much of. Cutting sugar out of my life was the biggest positive change for my health. How did you do it and what changes did you experience? Both hard habits to kick also. Basically killing yourself slowly. Isn't life basically just killing yourself slowly? Just the way I like it. Retirement. It will be here before you know it. Retirement looks like an unattainable luxury to a growing number of people. I blew my entire retirement savings over an ER visit. With insurance. Yeah, as a millennial born in the early 90s, I've pretty much accepted that I'll never retire. Yup. I will work until I die. Unless something prevents me. Either way, I'm never going to experience old age in a peaceful way. I'm a Gen Xer. We were taught quite pointedly that retirement was something our parents would get to do, not us. We should plan on working until we die. What's going on in their own town, as opposed to whatever they're flipping out about that they saw on CNN or r/World News. I know lots of people here in Canada who worry constantly about US elections and such, who can't even tell me who the town mayor is. Here this leads to people not voting in local elections. They only care about the president. You need to worry about your representatives and your governor. Shoot. State legislators make more laws that directly affect Americans on a daily basis than most things the president does. In the mid-80s in the USA, Mr. Clean was more recognized than George H.W. Bush. Advocating for seniors and having adequate care when you're a senior. Lots of us will not have it, and once you're that age, no one will listen to you, and many people will not have loved ones who will ensure they have adequate care. It's frightening. I've been in those environments a lot and have had to advocate for strangers who are in care facilities and are neglected. As a millennial, I'm mentally prepared to be a homeless senior lunatic. When I get too old to operate with my own body, I'd rather just pull the trigger. Cyber vulnerabilities. I've worked with some of the world's best white hat hackers and it's mind-boggling how accessible everything is. Here's a simple question to ask yourself to see if something is vulnerable. Is it connected to the internet? If yes, the answer is vulnerable. If no, the answer is maybe vulnerable. This is why I keep my passwords in a notebook. You can't hack paper. I'm sure those password managers have a stupid amount of security, but even still, someone somewhere is capable of hacking it. Also, for the love of God, get two-factor authentication on any sensitive logins, bank accounts, medical apps, etc. Just you wait when someone breaks into your house and steals that paper. Tuck it into the baseboard, keep it behind a mundane photograph, or something like that. Giving a smartphone to your child who has not even reached double digits. Affirmative. It can and will fuck up your child's eyesight and cause a lot of unnecessary stress. Little John should not have to worry about how his friends on WhatsApp will reply to him. He's 8 for fuck's sake. It has gotten bad for me. I think depression and anxiety work on a feedback loop with it. I think about that all day. While I look at Reddit. If their parents really want to give them an electronic device instead of a phone or device that can connect to the internet, it should be one with little to no internet access. So they cannot just look up anything they want on their internet or communicate with strangers. Like a Nintendo 3DS, Leapster, etc. Their diets. Truth. Now that I'm hitting middle age, I'm finally paying real attention to what I put in my body. Not to say that I'm ever going to eat like a monk, but my arteries aren't young anymore, you know? Have to get some fruits and veggies in my daily diet. What do you eat daily? I'm still young and this is making me scared because I don't really pay attention to what I put in my body. In general, the best way to eat is to keep as many of the things you eat as close to their naturally occurring state as possible. More fruit, veggies, unprocessed meat, water, rice, etc. This is especially critical in making sure your body is getting enough micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, The more processed something is, the worse it is for you. Cookies, chips, white bread, sweets, candy, etc. all are essentially empty calories with little nutritional value. The more you cook at home, the healthier you will be. Sun. People don't take sun exposure seriously. I know people that will buy 100 unnecessary skincare products and rarely ever put on some sunscreen. Like the stats are there, sun exposure will pretty much age your skin the most. I wear sunscreen, but it sucks that there aren't better sunscreen options that don't make your face break out. The stats also show that a lack of vitamin D is a huge problem. Yeah, but you can supplement. Vitamin D can't undo overexposure. They all make my skin break out. Sometimes even just splashing water on my face will make it itchy and dry. So I basically avoid touching it altogether. I was gonna say this: opening pads/tampons in the bathroom, public or private. As a teen I used to be so self-conscious. Now I realize it does not matter, at all. Girl, tear that shit open. Also, menstrual cups are a game changer. I feel like I open it as loudly as I can on purpose now. Also, I'm terrified of menstrual cups, but I'm sure I'll try it one day. Don't be scared. Once you get the hang of how to insert it properly, it's literally the best thing ever. I would never, ever go back to any other menstrual product. Game changer 100%. Heck yes. And don't be afraid. They are everything. 12 hours, roughly, between empties, and so much better out in public, once you learn how to use it. I've converted and am now a believer. Obesity. In the US the majority of the population is overweight. Simply because it's normal does not change the fact that it puts a huge strain on your body. I come from a family of obese people and I've had my own struggles with weight, so I'm not saying this out of insensitivity. One can acknowledge the difficulty of losing weight and maintaining healthy weight without pretending that being overweight doesn't seriously put you at risk for many diseases and quality of life issues. I've seen it firsthand in my own family. And I've experienced it firsthand from having my weight fluctuate 50 pounds several times in my life. I use the analogy of alcoholism. If you live in a society where 3/4 of the population drinks a quart of vodka a day, doesn't change the fact that that's seriously unhealthy. Just because most people do it doesn't change the fact that the case. And while I understand why people succumb to alcoholism, and I'm not judgmental of those who are not able to overcome it, it doesn't change the fact that it is a risk for one's health. We should take the same attitude towards obesity. My family has issues with obesity. After losing and gaining the same 25 pounds over the last 29 years, I had bariatric surgery. 2 months out and I've lost 45 pounds. I'm off caffeine and eat better than I ever have. My blood pressure is much improved, and I'm finally going to beat being overweight.